So you're right. It is one of the biggest sectors, and the issue that a lot of diasporans have when they're going into it is that they don't actually understand the local markets they're going into. As you said, what I always advise is to look at 4 key components, which is the location, very important.
Okay.
Then also the valuation, you have to also get that right. Then you also have the component of the protection of your assets, yes, and then you also have what you can put in place to make sure that you don't lose your money. So you have to look at all those options correctly before you actually decide that you're going to jump into it. Now, if we break them down, first important one is the location. Location is very important. It's not just the fact that it's prestige or is prime location. You have to look at the factors behind the location that you're going to choose. Look at the infrastructures in the location that you're looking at. Is the location close to employment hubs? Are people actively moving to this area and people actively renting in this area? These are all factors that can determine whether your location is the right one or not.
Yeah. Welcome to the Great Return Podcast, where we have conversations focused on wealth creation rooted in African development for and by people of African heritage, both at home and abroad. I am Lordy Emen, your host, and today we are discussing real estate investment strategies for diaspora real estate investors. And for that conversation, we have Mario Asafo Edu of Majestic Homes, Ghana. Welcome, Mario.
Hi, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
The fact that we're revisiting this topic tells me something very important. That real estate is one of the most trusted options for diasporans abroad. So I'm looking forward to the discussion.
Super. So we will kick off with the first section, which is looking at evaluating real estate market as a diaspora investor. Now, as you've just said there, real estate is one of the biggest sectors when it comes to diaspora investment. A lot of us put our money into it.
Yes.
And quite often we put our money into it without thinking further, we just know that, I need a house, or for some people a house is a safe bet. But there are strategies when it comes to real estate. So let's first talk about what some of the factors are that diasporans need to consider when evaluating real estate opportunities. In terms of things like the location and stuff like that.
Okay.
Can you talk to us a bit about that?
So you're right. It is one of the biggest sectors, and the issue that a lot of diasporans have when they're going into it is that they don't actually understand the local markets they're going into. As you said, what I always advise is to look at 4 key components, which is the location, very important.
Okay.
Then also the valuation, you have to also get that right. Then you also have the component of the protection of your assets, yes, and then you also have what you can put in place to make sure that you don't lose your money. So you have to look at all those options correctly before you actually decide that you're going to jump into it. Now, if we break them down, first important one is the location. Location is very important. It's not just the fact that it's prestige or is prime location, you have to look at the factors behind the location that you're going to choose. You know, look at the infrastructures in the location that you're looking at. Is the location close to employment hubs? You know, are people actively moving to this area and people actively renting in this area? These are all factors that can determine whether your location is the right one or not.
Yeah. I find that most of us, maybe more people too, who are, I don't know whether they call it, we keep talking about this, continental and historic diasporans. But I'll borrow that for now. Not sure which is whether they are the right terms or not. But continental diasporans like ourselves who have been maybe born here or are of parents who were born here and then migrated. I think often we just know that I need a home back at home.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes.
And you don't tend, I remember I didn't think a lot about what I'm getting. I need a place. It's got to be within a certain, and that's about it. I didn't think it was later you build a house and now you're thinking, so what do I do? Do I rent it? Do you see what I'm trying to say? So for a lot of us, I feel we don't think about the realities of that property, what you can use it for now, and then further on what you want it to be.
Yes.
in that sense. And then historic diasporans to come, they fall in love with the place and they jump in. Somebody says, I've got land here and they jump in. I think there's a lot of that going on. So we are saying location is one of the things that we really need to look into. And I suppose that depends on what we are looking for the
property for. So what is your goal?
Yeah.
In terms of getting this property? Is it a case of you're going to use it as an investment?
Yeah.
Is it somewhere that you're going to live with your family? Or is it just wanting to have a house back home? You have to weigh up those options. So then when you're investing in the property, then you know the expected outcome. So if you're expecting returns, what you're looking at getting back. If it's for, you know, to have somewhere to live, then you know that, okay, this is what I'm doing it for comfort. I'm doing it for the style that I want. So you have to consider those options before you actually decide to take that project. You said that historic diasporans might come maybe during December, after 30 December and all that, and then they might see where they stayed. It was so nice. Oh, I love to have a place here, you know, and then you just buy a place and then you don't realize what it actually comes with, you know, the factors to consider before you actually buy that place. When you go deeper, there's so many things that comes with actually buying a place. And that even in the West, you would think about it before you purchase. Some people purchase out of emotions and don't actually do homework before they'll actually get into purchasing or getting into the investment side of it. So it's very key.
I mean, I suppose with location, part of it is there will be things to think about, such as, is it near other properties? Is it within somewhere where it's built up? I met a lady just recently at an event, and you were just talking about safety and security of the assets. And this is where her situation came into being, because it's like she's bought a beachfront piece of land. And now she's like, people are saying, oh, you've got to do something, otherwise you might lose the land. Somebody might, you know. So she was now sort of talking to me about her worries about that. I could sense she wasn't ready to develop just yet. But obviously that is a worry. And this is what people need to maybe be aware of when they are even looking at location, where the property is going to be. So the other thing I want us to talk about in terms of factors to consider is valuation. This is a hot topic when it comes to the price of a property or of land. How should people go about understanding the valuation of that land here, because abroad is a lot easier.
Yes.
But here, how should people go about thinking about the valuation of the land and getting the right values as opposed to paying too much money?
So with Ghana, the Ghana market, valuation is not it's not predictable. Is, how do I put it? So it's not structured. So if someone has a property, they can decide to sell it for what they want. Most of the time, they don't have anything in place to show that it's worth this much. So what I advise most of my clients is, before you buy a property, don't go by the asking price. The asking price is the asking price, but that doesn't mean that that's the actual value. You have to investigate and see what has actually sold in that area. So if
just
it's,
like you do in
in the West. So if you've seen a house advertised for X amount, ask around what has actually sold for that price. If you can't find any property that was sold in that area for that price, then clearly there's an issue with that valuation. That's one aspect to check it. Also get an independent surveyor. They're out there now. You can get one who can actually value it professionally and tell you, okay, based on the area, based on location, based on research, this is how much we believe that the property is worth. You can check it that way as well. And then also look at what is the rental values around it. What are actually the place is being rented for, as opposed to what you're seeing advertised. Ask around. You can find out this information. Once you're sure that what you're getting the right money for what you're paying for, then you can go ahead. Don't get overcharged from just making a decision, or like as I said earlier, like taking a decision emotionally because I like the area, or somebody told me that it's a good area, it looks good. But make sure that is this place, are people actually coming to this place? Are people moving to this place? Are people actually renting in this place? What's the demand that is driving this location? Then you can compare it to also the price of what you're paying for.
So just beware that sometimes in Ghana you might be sold something that on paper sounds very good. But in reality, either it is so many years away from the reality of it being what it is being sold to you at, or it's never going to be what it is being sold to you at. I know of some, and I think you know as well, of people who have bought properties that are supposed to be in a whole estate being built with all the security and everything. And then you go there and either one or two properties are built and the rest of it is like a jungle and it's not safe. And you end up having to spend a lot of your own money trying to make the place safe. So just be aware. And this is why it is important to spend the money, is what you're saying, isn't it? To get the right advice. Get a good valuer. Nothing comes free. So spend the money, because property is a lot of money. So spend the money to do the valuation right. Spend the money to get somebody who is on the ground, who is doing the work and understands real estate, that can support you and get the right valuers for you to make sure that what you're paying is you're paying what you think you're paying for.
Because at the end of the day, it's a very important decision that you're taking. And a lot of people tend to put most of their savings into a property like deal or a situation. And you can't go into it blindly. If you're not careful, you can end up making a bad investment. So you have to make sure that all these angles are covered and spend the money, as you said, to get the job done right, because if you don't, it will cost you later. So why?
A lot more.
You end up paying more than you bargained for. So get it right the first time. Get the experts to take a look at it for you and make sure you're making the right decision before you actually jump in there and end up losing money.
And the other thing that I know that I like to tell people is that Ghanaians are good at selling you stuff. So just because they've said this, they've said that, and I hear that a lot. You know, they were such a nice person. They came, I totally believed everything they were telling me. And they said this and they said that. You find that in everywhere. You find people like that everywhere.
Yes.
But Ghanaians especially are very good because we are, I don't know, part of our culture, it's not about telling lies, but it's about sort of being receptive and helping people. So that makes us good at talking to people and all that. So just be a little bit cautious, and whatever they tell you, get somebody to do the work.
Verify it.
And confirm that
That's right.
the guy or the lady is telling you the right thing. So, yeah. Another thing that we look at is cash flows from some of what you were saying earlier. It is about sort of the net yield, what the property, especially when it comes to the rental side of things. So could you talk to us a bit about this particular point, and why is it important to consider what your potential yields might be, or what the cash flows will be like?
So your cash flow is basically the money that you have left in your pocket after you take out your expenses. So acquiring a property, and for instance, you're using it as a rental property. Now you have to take into considerations a few key factors. That property, if you're renting it out, you're going to need a property manager. If you're not going to manage it, especially if you're managing it from abroad, you're going to need someone so that comes at a cost. Maintenance of the property is also something that you need to take into consideration. There's also the utilities aspect of it. There's also the the management aspect as well. So you have to make sure that you take all these key things into consideration. Now, what a lot of diasporas don't realize is that having the property there, sometimes you have periods where it's vacant. Those periods are still costing you money. You're still having to run it. So you have to know that that's also an expense that's going to come, eventually come out of your profits. You have to consider that when you're making a decision. Also, when you're looking at the property itself, sometimes it's high seasons. You have seasons. It's very seasonal. Sometimes you have seasons where you have occupancy, seasons where you don't. That's gonna be a big factor for you as well in terms of your expenses. So look at all the expenses that comes with the property, and then weigh it up. Does it make sense? If I'm renting this property for X amount and my expenses is costing me that much, and I'm left with little or no profit after, is it a wise investment? Consider that.
And also, I suppose things like property rates. A lot of people don't realize that in Ghana we also pay
service charges. Yes. So whether there's someone staying in there or not, you're still paying service charges. So that's something that you have to also take into consideration.
And for a lot of depending on where your property is, like where our house is, for instance, we actually every year we have to pay something to
is it the ground rent?
Yes, for the ground rent. And for a while I was oblivious to this, and then suddenly it came to bite us, and it was a number of years, and I was like, what? So those are some of the things,
expenses that you don't realize that you need to
so you need to do your homework. And this is something too that maybe when you get somebody on the ground who can help you with the valuation, they can also help you with the potential of the cash flow and your potential costs. So it can give you ahead of time before you even decide
to make that
decision. And whether it's an area that will be, again, location. Do you have to rely on normal rent to locals and diasporans living in Ghana? could it potentially be an Airbnb, which will be better for you? So these are all things that maybe is better.
Make sure, do the research to make sure that this location that I'm in, is it viable? Is it where it makes sense to do long term? Or does it make sense to do Airbnb short hits?
Also, do we need to consider market conditions, such as, is the market a seller's market or is it a buyer's market? Things like interest rates, population growth. What are other factors that we need to take into account when we are actually considering investing in a property?
Yeah, so in terms of what you said, the market conditions, you need to look at the trends. What are the interest rates saying at the moment? Are people actually moving to these areas? So the growth of the population. And that will help you to decide and get your timing right. Is this the right time to actually go into this area? Is this the right time to actually get this property? Is it going to give me my returns I'm looking for based on the market conditions of the area? So that is also very key. It's very important to make sure that you do your research based on the trends, based on the conditions of the market. So as you said, right now, are people buying or are people selling? Are people renting? Weigh up the options. And that also helps you.
And again, like I was saying, I think sometimes, although maybe the larger area might be okay in terms of rentals and all that, but maybe your specific location, especially in areas where, I was going to say in areas where you rely on normal rental, but even for areas of Airbnb, if your immediate location is not conducive in terms of security and amenities, getting people to rent or to come for short stay could be a problem. So that is something.
So the target audience, as you say, who are my renters? Who are the clientele that I'm looking for? If you're looking at diasporans, for instance, a lot of them come and they want to have that same experience that they have back in the West. So if they come and they don't have the comfortability, there's no security, there's no swimming pool, there's no gym. These are all factors that you can, you need to take into consideration. And that also makes a difference to what you can actually charge. When you have these amenities and the security, you can charge a premium as opposed to where it's somewhere where it's in a location where they're not so sure about the security. They have to travel somewhere to use the pool. That can also make a big difference and impact in your returns as well.
And I suppose it is weighing up, because sometimes the price of a property or a land in certain areas might be more expensive, and you're thinking, that one is cheaper. But these things can actually change if you look at your cash flow, these things can actually change that. So although you might be spending a bit more money, you might be getting more money back, and eventually it makes more sense. But not always. So these are the nitty-gritty that you need to look at, isn't it?
It's to really look deeper before you actually make the decision.
Because I suppose around areas like East Legon, what do you call it? Like up areas, if you like.
The prime locations.
The prime locations. You pay a lot more. And sometimes it makes sense, some other times it doesn't. So it's about looking at that cash flow and your costs and what the net effect will be if you spend all that money.
And as you said, the demand really drives the pricing as well. So for instance, East Legons, Cantonments, Labonis, there's high demand for a specific type of properties, and those ones will attract a premium because there's a high demand. For the areas where there's not a high demand and there's not a lot of people renting, you may not get the same returns or same income that you're looking for. So these are options you need to also add up and weigh up before you make your decision. Really.
Okay, so now I want us to look at real estate investment strategies in our second session. As we've already said, real estate, a lot of diasporans invest in real estate.
Yes.
And at the same time, real estate is one of the heavy investments around, as in it requires a lot of money. So in that respect, I want us to look at some of the strategies that we need to think before we actually invest in real estate, as opposed to invest first and then you start thinking, and then certain things don't add up and don't make sense. So I'd like us to start with the rental properties. What are the various approaches that diasporans can adopt? And then we talk about the pros and the cons.
Okay. So in terms of the rental strategy, there are a few ways you can look at it. Firstly, is the long-term rentals. So let's look at the pros and cons of the long-term. The long-term, one is, you know that you're going to get a certain amount of money over a certain period of time. You're guaranteed
Consistency.
Yes, consistent. So the pros of that is less tenant turnover. So you don't have to constantly be looking for tenants.
Yeah.
You have a tenant that's secured for a long term. You know, this is how much money I'm going to get. If it's 6 months, if it's 1 year, you can now know it's predicted. You can see it. And then it's normally less maintenance
involved.
Less maintenance involved. You have one person in there or family in there, and it's you're not constantly having to deal with maintenance issues. So that's a good side. The cons, I would say, is lower yield, lower returns than you like your Airbnb or your short let, because it's a fixed and is a predicted rate that you're going to be getting. Also, you have issues with rent control and then tenant disputes. This is something that you have to consider and look at, and you're going to have to deal with, because you might have tenants that will give you problems or give you make it difficult for you in certain situations. So these are things that can also come as a negative aspect of it. But all in all, with the long-term rental, you know that it's an investment that you can actually use to budget. So that's it. You can actually, you have a guaranteed income that you can use going forward. So with the long-term rental, that's a really good one. Then you have the short lets, the short term, so the Airbnbs or the short lets. Now with them, the pros, you get real high returns, but it also comes with its cons, which you're gonna end up having to do more maintenance. And you have to rely on seasons. A lot of it is based on seasons when it comes to the short let. And there's times where you're going to have vacant and less occupancy, and this can also be costly. You having to still manage and maintain the property whilst it's empty. So the good, the real good aspect of that is that you get high returns, definitely, and then it's easier for you to also plan accordingly, because you can know that, okay, at least I have a place there. If ever I'm in town, I don't need to go and rent a hotel or anything. I can stay in my when you're running as an Airbnb, as opposed to you now coming and have to go and spend money elsewhere. So those are the positive sides of it.
So it's thinking more deeply about your own needs and also about the local situation. So some diasporans might think the long-term rent is easier because there's less management needed. So once you let it out until maybe the next time round, you don't need to do anything. But it's like you pointed out, with issues, if you don't have people who are managing it, it can become difficult when maybe a tenant is misbehaving, or even for you to take somebody to rent control, or if they take you to rent control, it is more difficult to manage because you're not around and you don't have anybody. So I'm just saying that some people might think that's an easy one. I'll do that. But it comes with
its own
own things like that. And I suppose with the Airbnb and the short-term rent, you will have to rely on a management company.
And this is something that is going to cost you.
It will cost you. But then I suppose the plus side of that is, your property is always being looked at.
Yes.
They visit the property. So if there are any problems, you get to know. Whereas the long-term rent, sometimes you don't get to know. They will be trashing your property.
And then when you come to time for them to move, that's what it now becomes.
Yeah, it becomes an issue. So these are all things to think about when you're looking at rental property, be it short-term or long-term. They all have their own little pros and cons here and there.
Yeah.
But it is sort of
both investments can be sound if it's done right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
because even the long-term rent, if you're not in the country, personally, I believe it's important to get somebody to manage it for you.
Yes.
But obviously, the how do I say, the fee that a management company will charge for a long-term rent shouldn't be as much as it will charge for the Airbnb, which is always, that's what I think anyway. It will be a lot more work. So I think regardless, whether it's short-term or long-term rent, if you use a management company, I think you will still get your value for money.
Definitely. And it's peace of mind for you as well. Yeah.
Exactly.
You have a professional that's taking care of your place.
Exactly.
If there's issues, they will make you aware. So the maintenance aspects you be able to take care of without having to. So like for instance, with the long term, a tenant may not mention to you, as you said, any issues that's ongoing. When you have a property manager, they will constantly be going there, visiting the property. If there's any issue, the tenant has someone to fall back on, as opposed to having to rely on speaking to you. So having the property manager there is very important in both aspects. Yes, although the prices vary in terms of short term and long term. Yeah, but it's very key.
And it's to stress here that at the end of the day, even property management companies do differ.
Yes.
So again, before you pick one,
make sure you do your due diligence.
Exactly. Look into them carefully. Another strategy, I think, is flipping of properties, where people buy property and keep it for some time and then sell it to make money that way. So can you talk us through this strategy as well, especially in the local setting, and also the pros and the cons?
That's a really good one. You can buy property and keep hold of it and later on flip it for a higher price, as you said.
Yeah.
But it determines on the factors, location, very key, and also the valuation of the area as well. So when you acquire property in a certain location, that, say for instance, a prime location, you get it at a good price. Property values tend to rise over time, depending on different factors. So is there population growth in the area? Is there infrastructure increase in the area? Is there more demand in the area? These can drive the how the situation is and when it comes to the market at the time. So getting a property and keeping hold of it and waiting for the right time to sell is very, very good. So that's one good strategy.
Do you find that it is a strategy used much here in Ghana?
Yes, definitely do. So what some people may do, they might have had a property for a very long time. Maybe they had a property for a number of years.
Yeah.
And now they add value to the property and they can flip it for a much higher price when the area becomes a much more demand. So I've seen trends happening now in certain areas. So for instance, let's take East Legon for instance. You might have someone that's purchased it maybe 10 years ago. And now they didn't spend so much to build.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a 3-bedroom house, for instance, and the land has appreciated so much. So you get developers that will come in that want that land.
Yeah.
They'll pay you 3-4 times what you pay for it.
Yeah.
Because of the demand of the area. So it's good to have those have that availability and have that flexibility when it comes to securing lands and property and certain locations.
But I suppose with that also, there must be like some level of minimum time to hold the property for in order to make money. Otherwise, you probably will it will end up costing you, because buying property, you spend money.
Yes.
Not just the money on the purchase price of the property, but you spend money in looking, in verifying, like we just talked about, in all of that. So buying property involves extra costs apart from what the property is actually going to cost you. Again, selling a property, there's also extra costs apart from what the property is actually going to cost you. So at the end of the day, I suppose there must be a certain minimum level that you need to hold the property for in order to actually make
so you have to have patience. You can't buy it today and then expect to sell it next week for a higher profit. So it does reward patience. When you're doing the flipping of properties. You have to have the holding power to be able to hold and sell at the right time. If you're not able to have the patience, you may end up not losing money on it. Yes. And as you said, it comes with involving costs. You have the legal costs. You also have agency fees that you have to pay, and there's different aspects that will be costly. So you need to be able to recoup that money back. If you don't have the patience to sit and hold for the right time to sell, it could cost you.
It will cost you. And then I suppose it's to consider also when you're buying and you're thinking of buying to later flip, is that in between you can actually be doing something with the property.
Yes.
And think carefully about what you can do in between before you opt for a particular property whilst you're holding it. You don't just want to be holding money that is not
it's not working.
It's not working for you. So it's thinking about, okay, in the time being, what can I do with that particular property where it is and how it is like? So to think about those things, I would say. In terms of flipping properties as well, I know in the UK and I suppose places like the US and stuff, they have people who actually go and buy rundown properties, do them up, and then flip them. So that one is it's a shorter term that you hold a property for. The main advantage there is the adding of the value, like doing the property up, which gives you the return, isn't it?
Yes.
Is that a thing you've seen in Ghana?
Oh yes, most definitely.
Okay.
There's as I said, the properties that are old, people want modern style properties now. So you acquire property at a lower mark, add value to as you do in the West, renovate where you need to, give it a modern look, and you're able to now sell it for a higher price. So you've transformed the property from what it used to be to something that is more desirable and in more demand now. So with that one, as you said, it can be done short term. So you've come in, you know what you want it to look like, you know how much you want to spend, you do the work, and then within a short space of time, you can get rid of that property. Depending on the demand for what you actually turn it into. So that is definitely very, very key.
So for something like that, for diasporans who are not here and are thinking, I like that model, I like that strategy. Are companies like yours able to help them look for the property and do it up and then sell? So do you have the potential to actually source good properties that are, I suppose, not, if I say good properties, sort of properties that are in good locations that are run down, that you think they can really make money on? Are you able to source that for potential diasporans and also help them do it up and then help them sell.
Yes, that's one key aspect of our company. We do renovations.
Okay.
And we do remodeling. So a diaspora looking at that model there can contact a company like ourselves.
Yeah.
We can take care of it from the start to the finish, source the property in a location that we think is viable, which is flexible to them, and also the financial power, and then we can source it for them. Then we do all the work that needs to be done.
Yeah.
Then we also get it on the market for them, help them to also sell it.
Yeah.
Or even if they want to use it as a investment property, we can help them to also manage it.
Manage that. Right. Do you know if there are a number of companies like doing similar to what you are doing?
Yes,
are they enough in the market?
There are a few that I know of, but I'm not so sure how many there are out there.
Okay.
Yes, but there are
a number of them.
That, yes.
And also, I suppose you wouldn't know what the level of service is until.
Yes. I can only speak for
you,
what we do, and we give you the end-to-end. Project management. And also making sure that you're able to get a good return on your investment. We'll give you good advisory when it comes to locations to look at, possible ideas of what you could turn the property into, and we can work with you through the whole step.
I mean, just for the benefit of some of our viewers who probably are thinking along those lines, are there certain areas that you would say they are certainly decent areas if you are thinking of either doing up properties and flipping them?
Yes, I always go back to the demand for the location. I also go back to how close it is to investment hubs.
Okay.
Employment hubs.
Okay.
Yes. So for me, I always advise my clients to look at these factors when you're picking. It's not so much about the name or the area, or the location,
I see.
the prestige of the area. Look at what works.
Yes.
Are people actively renting in this place? Are people buying in this area? Are people able to afford housing in this area? These are factors that you have to look at. So I don't normally advise certain locations, certain areas. I'll do my research, and I can tell you that, okay, for instance, I've seen this area is up and coming. There's a lot of urban population driving there. There's a lot of infrastructure happening here, and it's actually ongoing. And these are going to be factors that are going to drive demand. So look at this area, and you can find property there, and we can do this model with.
Okay. So another strategy that is out there is real estate investment trusts.
Yes.
REITs, they call them, I think. And just for the benefit of our listeners and viewers, for those who are not familiar with this real estate investment trust, they are like a pool funds from multiple investors, where they do everything. So they are taking the money from multiple people, but they are investing in the properties. They are managing they are doing everything for you, and basically you are earning like dividends out of your investment. So is this a good strategy in terms of the Ghanaian scene? I believe in Ghana is the Republic Bank that I've seen somewhere that they do this. But is this a good strategy for diaspora investors who are thinking of investing in real estate?
Most definitely. I believe that's one of the good strategies when it comes to investing in the property market here in Ghana, because it allows the diasporan to be able to come in at a certain price point. They may not have the thousands of pounds or dollars to be able to do so, but this gives you an opportunity to own a property without actually being hands-on, and without having to manage any of the aspects that it comes with. So you'll be able to invest and have your hands on and still have money coming to you over a certain period of time. Now, practically what this looks like is, to buy a house, you probably need to spend about 100,000 plus to buy one. You might not have that. But with this model, they're pulling funds from various investors. So there might be 10, 20 investors that will all put in, say, 5,000 each. And from that, everyone gets a share once the project is done. And this gives makes it accessible to anyone that wants to invest. You can start from the lower end to the high end. So I believe that model really works. And it's very heavily regulated. As I said, Republic Bank are one of the banks that are doing that in Ghana. And I believe there's a few others like Stanbic and Stanchart that also have their investment arms that are also doing the same similar models. Yeah, so it does really work. If you're looking at coming in, but you're not sure, or you don't have the necessary funding to be able to do so, but you can start off at a lower end. This is a very good strategy to go into. You're minimizing risk, but the cons, should I say, with that can also be, is based on the performance of the fund. Yeah, it depends on how much yield or returns you can also get. So check to make sure that it's viable before you also get involved. Look at it properly. But yes, it's a very, very good strategy, and I believe that is becoming very popular now. For us at Majestic, this is we have similar models in place now, which we are doing with some of our diaspora investors, where we come together with them, a few different investors, purchase a piece of land, put a few units on there, and once the property is finished, it's sold and it's split evenly, the profit. So we have a similar model that's working like that now. And what we're looking at areas that are up and coming, and we're doing affordable housing to what you would call affordable, not the overpriced houses. So we're putting realistic properties on the market that will sell within a short space of time, rather than having to wait for a long time. So you're getting your returns pretty much
quickly
in a few months, and it doesn't take long to build those type of properties. So for instance, ones that we're doing at the moment, a 3-bedroom bungalow. It will take you 3 to 4 months to build. The investment is not so high, and within 3 to 4 months it's sold. So like a 6 months turnaround. And yes, you know, so yeah, I really like that.
No, I do. I do like that very much. It really speaks to me. The fact that is looking at affordable housing, especially. But at the same time, too, is giving diasporans a good return, helping locally
as well
plug this big gap in the housing market. So
the big deficit that we have.
The
thing is, there is a lot of people out there that want to purchase, the people that want to get onto the market, but they're not able to buy the overpriced house at the moment. So if you're able to give them an affordable option, the demand is much more higher there as well.
So in terms of rates and the returns on them compared to sort of like what you are doing, what would you say? I suppose one is dividends over X, however long you keep your investment in for, whereas what you're doing is a quick return. But in terms of the return, what do you think?
I mean, on the returns, with the model that we have, you're getting your returns pretty much very quickly, and the yields are higher compared to maybe that model where it depends on how the fund is performing. Sometimes you're having to put the money in there for a certain number of years before you get your return, and you might not be able to also access it at a point. But with this model, you get a clear timeline of when we expect it to be finished and when we expect to sell.
Okay.
And that also helps in terms of knowing. So I would say that with that model, your returns may come quicker and be slightly higher. And the other one, you have to have a bit of patience where it comes over time. But you're still getting a constant reward. And it's a fund that is ongoing.
Yeah. So typically what you're doing takes less than a year from what you're saying.
Yes.
4 months to build. 4 months to sell.
Yeah. Sometimes we're even sold before the building is even done. Yeah, because of how much demand there is. Yeah.
That's an interesting. So do you do them do you have specific areas you're doing them, or?
At the moment, we're focusing a lot on Lakeside.
Okay.
I don't know if it's around the East Legon Hills area, and
is that part of the bigger Adenta stretch?
Yes, I have different communities there, and there's a huge demand there for that type of housing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're doing a lot of work over there.
So you get the land, you do.
So on one land, you could put 2 units of three bedrooms.
Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. Finally, I'd like us to talk about land banking strategy. I mean, this is something that's been going on for a while, where people they acquire lands in underdeveloped areas that sometimes that are up and coming, keep it as land over time, and then sell it on. What do you think of that strategy, especially in Ghana? Okay,
so yes, land banking is something in Ghana that has been going on for generations, and is still very much relevant now. It's a long-term process. It's not something that you're going to see money from straight away. So when you're land banking, you have to have that at the back of your mind, that this investment is for the long term.
Are we talking, say, 10 years?
It can 20? It can range from a number of years. Now, let me give you an example. For instance, the East Legons cantonments that we hear of.
Yes.
20 years ago, those areas were considered bush.
Yeah.
And people invested in them, and they waited 20 years to be able to sell, and they got a huge return from it because they decided to have the patience. So with land banking, patience rewards.
Yes.
You, when you're able to be patient, to be able to keep on. So it depends on your holding power again. How long are you willing to be able to hold on to this land for? You will get huge returns when you eventually sell it. The cons, I would say, with that is you have a risk of title issues. Yes, and also litigations. Because sometimes if you have a land sitting there for so long, you have the risk of someone encroaching on your land. So you have to factor those when you're going into land banking. Secure your land. Have somebody stay on the land. At least you know that it's protected. And so it really only works if you have a good, clean title.
Okay.
Yes, and you're able to secure your land.
So having a title in Ghana doesn't always mean your land is secure.
No. You have to take possession of the land. That's very, very key. Take possession of the land and make sure that it's well protected and free from encroachers. And then you're able to sit on it and hold as long as you want. So, and it's very key, the locations that you go for. You don't buy in established areas or prestige areas, that they will say.
Because that would be expensive.
That would be expensive. So the good thing with that is that you can come in at a very low end. So if you're buying in areas that are up and coming, and the prices are low, you're able to sit on it, and you also do your research as well. As the government have any plans for this area, maybe over the next 5 to 10 years, are there infrastructure that are being put in place? Are there road networks that have actually been put in place and is actually been signed off that they're going to start doing? These are factors that you can look at this and know that right now if I buy at this price here is very low. Within 5 years the roads are going to be done. There's going to be infrastructure. There's going to be people moving to this area. I can sell at this point and I can get a huge return because the price is going to be driven up. So land banking is a very, very good strategy if you're looking at long-term investment, definitely.
I just want to reiterate again that we're saying if you buy the land, you need to secure it.
You need to secure it.
And I suppose is the best way of securing it actually having somebody there?
That's very key.
Okay.
That's probably the best way.
Yeah.
Have someone build a structure, have someone stay on the land to look after it.
Yeah.
But there's also a downside to that. You could put someone on your land to look for it, and after 10 years, you haven't ever come back to your land. They can take possession of that land. So when you put someone on there, you need to make sure that you're paying them something. Even if it's 1 cedi a day, you're paying them something. And you have a record of it.
Yes, a contract
to say
with them.
Yes, that you're looking after my place and I'm paying you to look after it.
Exactly.
Or else you could come back and your property is gone.
Yes.
Because and by law, they can actually go to court and win the case.
They can.
If there's no proof to say that you was paying them to look after your land.
Yeah.
So you have to consider that aspect.
It's to do with the squatters' rights.
Squatters' rights, yes.
Because if you buy the land and you're not visiting, if you have records that you've been visiting, you meet the person, this and that, then that's good. But the best way is to have a written record at the start and to actually pay them. It doesn't matter how small the amount is. It can be a cedi a year. It doesn't matter. That needs to be stated. Proof that you've paid them.
Yes.
And you have that contract. Then they can't.
If you're not going to have no one on there, as I said, take possession, wall it, put a gate on it. So it's free from, make sure there's security. Protection, then that
you should always have somebody to visit. That's the thing, because even if you put a wall and somebody goes in and they actually, the next time you go, there's a whole house
going up,
gone up, and people have experienced that.
Swings,
I've heard stories, where people have started, they've actually started their building up to a point, and people have come and completed it and moved in.
Because you've not come to the property in 10 years.
For so long, So
and sometimes as well with land banking, it can be a bit of a headache. I heard you talk earlier about a lady that bought beachside land, and she was worried about, because some locations and some areas you do get penalized for it. If you have a land that's sitting there and you've not done anything on it, they can charge you, they can penalize, they can even try to take it back if they can, especially if it's owned by the chiefs, the tradition. They can say you haven't done anything with the land. So sometimes they give those conditions when you're buying the land. So you have to be careful when you're buying something like that for land, but make sure that there's no clause that says that after 5 years, if I haven't built, they can come back and try to renegotiate and take control. So you have to make sure that you check that as well.
Okay. So for land banking, are there at the moment areas in the country that are potentially really good for land banking?
Yes, I always say look at places like Pram.
Okay.
Although the prices are going up, there is still you can still come in at a low entry point.
Okay.
There's a lot of speculations and news on the area about to really take off in terms of government investment that's going there. I believe in Pram there's about to be the largest tech hub in Africa. The government recently signed a deal with UAE to build a tech hub where it's going to have all the likes of Microsoft, Apple, all these big giants coming in and setting up there. So if you're buying there now where it's low, imagine within the next few years when this has actually happened, the value that you would have created, there's going to be a huge demand. You can get a lot of money for you. So that's one area. Another area is Shy Hills. That's really also starting to make a lot of noise. You can buy low now and you can really sit on that. The next 3 to 4 or 5 years, that area will also be a big area. Then you have the ones that are not so far from Accra. I wouldn't call them low area. The prices are still a bit, but you can still, some are still affordable, like the Oyare Fairs, the Breeze, the Amasaman. There's quite a few. Like, just look at anywhere that is within 30 minutes of Accra. And the prices are low. You will always, that is a sure bet for the next few years. The price will go up.
Take up.
like what I've seen over time is doesn't matter where you really buy land always appreciates over time. So even if there's no infrastructure, there's nothing going on there, you can still buy it and bank it. Eventually, even when you're ready to sell it, you will still be able to sell it for more than what you paid for, because land always appreciates. That's one thing that we do very well in Ghana with the land appreciation is always on the up.
Going up. I've heard a lot of talk about along the Volta, this whole government scheme that is looking to vamp up the Volta Lake as a source of like having what do you call it, production facilities along that, so they can make use of the water for transportation and all of that. I don't know if you've heard about that. So I was wondering, along that corridor,
Is it talking about the Akosombo?
Yes, exactly.
Yes, Atimpoko, those areas. Yes, most definitely. That's another hotspot to actually look out for. The prices are, at the moment, you do get some high, some low, so you can buy in certain areas. And as you said, if the government do act on what they said that they're going to do, you're guaranteed to have a much higher return on when you purchase land over there. Definitely.
Okay.
And look at areas that are poised to be tourist attractions. I always say buying near the beachfront is always a good idea. You can always develop it later to resorts or to projects that will attract tourists. And Ghana has become one of the hotspots for tourism. Over the next few years, Accra will be too small. So when you're looking outside and there's beach areas, you're definitely going to be able to get a good return if you have lands in those areas and you do projects that actually accompany the influx of tourists that will be coming in. And I do believe that over the next few years we're going to be seeing a more surge in tourist attraction to Ghana.
We hope so. We hope so.
Definitely,
and the Fugu debacle that's gone on is giving us even more. I've really enjoyed that. I've really enjoyed that. But hopefully it's going to even help our tourism. I hope positive tourism as opposed to other forms of tourism that comes with problems, but we are looking forward to that. So I'd like you, is there anything else you want to share with us before we wrap up?
Okay, so for me, one of the most important advice I can give to any diaspora that's looking to invest in Ghana property market, don't invest based on emotions. You can get it so wrong if you do that. You have to make sure that what you're investing in or how you're trying to invest actually aligns with your goals. Make sure that they actually aligns. What exactly am I trying to do? Am I trying to make money in the short term? Am I trying to make money in the long term? Am I trying to have a property for myself? Or am I trying to have a property as an investment? They're completely different. So you have to make sure that you know what you're trying to do before you decide to take that plunge. Don't just get up and decide that I want to get into it because it sounds good or because everybody else is doing they're saying that property is good. Don't get me wrong, the property game is a good lucrative area, but if it's not done right, it can be really costly. So you have to make sure. Also, again, due diligence is very important in Ghana and everything that you do in Ghana, especially when it comes to real estate. You have to make sure that you actually do this. Don't rely on hearsay. Don't rely on what my uncle or my auntie told me. Don't rely on what you've heard.
Or always, your friend or somebody said will help you.
They'll help you. Always check at the source. Make sure. And make sure that you use professionals. Don't rely on just individuals. If you're trying to build a project or you're trying to build a property, use qualified contractors.
Absolutely.
Do your research on them. Make sure that you see their previous works they've done. Don't just go with them because, my uncle used them or my friend used them. So everyone's situation is different.
It's different.
So make sure that you always check these aspects before you actually decide to get into any part of real estate investment in Ghana is very, very key. We broke down all the strategies today. Make sure that you do your own research on them before you get into.
Exactly.
Our doors are always open. You can always contact us for advice. We're always available to do consultation with you in every of those areas where you're ready to, and we can help you the best way that we can to make sure that you make a wise and informed decision when you're making your investment in Ghana.
Absolutely. So thank you so much to Mario Safu Edu of Majestic Homes GH. It's been lovely having you again, and thanks for the conversation. And thanks to you as well, our cherished viewers and listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to grab yourself a copy of our book, which is on Amazon in all forms. And if you're doing or thinking of doing business or investing in Ghana or the rest of Africa, then we can help. Get in touch by visiting our website, tgrafrica.com, and book a consultation to discuss various forms of collaborations and partnerships, both with us and with other partners that we speak to, and also for business guidance and advice and investment guidance and advice, and also to check out all the other wonderful things that we are doing. See you in the next episode.